What is up guys, it's your boy Solheim here, back with another World of Warcraft video for the War Within, and today we're talking about the early access. Moreover, we're talking about an interview Blizzard has done. This is an old interview, by the way, talking about the early access, that because it's so old, it might have gotten lost in time, and people don't know exactly what to expect from the early access itself. Now, all we can do so far is take a look at what Blizzard has said, and maybe they've changed their mind. We'll have to wait and see for the launch itself, or if they clarify anything closer to launch, but so far this is the information that we have based on this interview that I kind of want to go over with you guys today. And I feel like this will be really important for pretty much everyone, because if you do have the early access, well, this will let you know what you can and can't do during that time to prepare yourself for the official launch. And for those of you who don't have the early access, but you're maybe still considering whether or not you should buy the early access, well, knowing what you actually get early access to and what you can do in that time period will probably be important for your decision making here. So once again, I feel like it's going to be somewhat important to everyone, and it's an old interview from the past, so we have Blizzard's words on this based on what they have said. Now, I'm just not going to waste too much time here, but let's talk about the interview and the Wowhead article. So I'm going to read the Wowhead article first, because that gives you a really quick summary. So for those of you who just want to have the summary, we're going to get that really fast here, and then we're going to take a look at the interview for a little bit more in-depth information from Blizzard themselves. So here you will have the Wowhead recap of the interview, and this is a quick summary. The 90 USD Epic Edition for the War Within will offer 3 days of early access to the expansion. Blizzard is adding early access to maximize the value of the expansion bundles, which basically means Blizzard is adding this to make more cash. That's just a fancy way of putting that. The base edition of the War Within is the best it's ever been, including the level boost and Dragonflight for the same price. So they're basically telling you don't have to buy this. The base edition is still really good, better than it's ever been, but they're still trying to milk you for even more cash, and I've bought this, so I can't really say anything. A regret about the early access period announcement was not communicating the restrictions of the early access, and that's what we're getting here. The primary purpose of the early access period is for leveling. Players will be unable to do Mythic 0, Mythic Plus dungeons, loot the best items from rares, access weekly profession cooldowns, and profession specialization points. If you're interested in gold making, these last 2 points here will be important. So accessing weekly profession cooldowns and profession specialization points, as of now, the information we have, that will not be available in that early access period. More on that in just a little bit. The overall goal of the early access period is to not provide a long-term advantage, so by the time Season 1 begins, players should not be able to tell who had early access and who did not. Blizzard added early access to help players with less time who might fall behind during the initial launch week of an expansion and miss out on dungeons with their friends. So people who can't, for example, take paid leave or unpaid leave, whatever, like people that can't take time off work to know life the game, well, they will have 3 days more to play the game and level up characters. And the early access also launches right before a weekend, so they can use that weekend to absolutely game and then go back to work the next week, like the next weekday. Alright, so here we have the actual interview, and kind of what I want to go into here is over here. The early access period is really pulling in that start by a few days for these people to get a head start on leveling, aimed more at a lot of players who may not have that much free time and not have the ability to take time off work, and therefore miss out on that first week of running Mythic 0 dungeons or running max level dungeons with their friends and their guilds who are not able to jump in. Now, or who are able to jump in. Some of the things that will not be available until reset include the best items from rare spawn creatures, Mythic 0 dungeons, Mythic Plus, that's kind of obvious, but also weekly profession cooldowns and the profession specialization points, Hostas said. So it's not like somebody is speculating here, and this is from an interview with the developers, or Ian in this case, Hostas, which is directly talking about weekly profession cooldowns and profession specialization points. So I kind of want to chime in with my opinion on this and what I think will happen, because even though they have said some things here, they haven't fully clarified, and they still might until the early access, or we'll just have to wait and see what happens. But basically, what I'm thinking about is this one. Because weekly profession cooldowns, that's easy, they can just lock the ability to make them until the first week, so you can't use them for the first week, and many of them will by themselves not be doable because of this one, not having access to the specialization points. So what I think will happen here, if we go over to the beta right now, so my prediction here is that they will simply make it so that when you open up your professions and you try to go to specializations, these will simply be locked. So you can't learn any of your specializations, or maybe you can't even click on this. Like if I hide my web camera real quick right now, when you click on specializations, like when you go to your recipes, then you click on crafting orders or specializations, this one right here, the button will just be grey, so you can't click it. Kind of like what happens when you don't have 25 skill points in a profession, you can't click on specializations, it's just grey, and I think that's what's going to happen at launch as well. That button will just be grey, so you can't click on this, but I still believe that you'll be able to accumulate specialization points, you just will not be able to spend them, and the reason why I say that is that, imagine this, imagine they take away the ability to earn knowledge points, but they unlock professions. That means that I will be skilling up tailoring and doing a bunch of first time crafts, which I will not get knowledge points for, and then suddenly someone who comes in after the early access, they will then do their first time crafts and now they get knowledge points. So suddenly, in the scenario where they literally take away the ability to earn knowledge points, you get punished by having the early access, because you will then skill up professions and not earn knowledge points. So what I can see happen, it's the most fair thing to happen, but it's kind of unfair at the same time, but it's the most fair of any decision, if you ask me, is to unlock or lock the ability to spend knowledge points, but you can still accumulate them. And that's what I think they will do. It's what makes the most sense to me, at least, to just give you the ability to earn knowledge points, but you will not be able to spend any of them. So you can stack up 20 knowledge points in that time, you just won't be able to spend them, but that still means that anyone who has the early access, they will have a huge advantage by being able to farm those knowledge points. You just once again will not be able to spend them, but that means that when they get unlocked, you can start with 30 knowledge points, 40, I can even say 60 knowledge points for some professions you're going to start with, when the other people have 0. And once again, the reason why I think that's going to happen is that if they lock the ability to earn the knowledge points, you're just going to waste your first time crafts, and you will brick your characters by having the early access, so I can't see that happening. I just can't see them locking the ability to earn knowledge points. I just think they're going to lock the ability to spend them, so you can keep accumulating them in the early access period. And I think that kind of makes even more sense when you go back to the interview as well, because if you read through this sentence, some of the things that will not be available until the reset include the best items from rare spawn creatures, Mythic 0 dungeons, Mythic Plus, weekly profession cooldowns, and professional specialization points. And I believe that wording is very important for a product like this, where they say directly that profession specialization points will not be available, but they don't say earning them will not be available. So like, if they wanted to make it so that you can't earn them, they would probably say and earning professional specialization points. In this case, the only thing that isn't available is the professional specialization points, which once again, if you ask me, that is the ability to spend them, or this tab right here. Like, clicking this tab is just not going to work until that weekly reset, or until after the early launch period. Now, if that actually ends up happening, that just gives us more time, the people that have the early access, like me for example, that gives me more time to set up my alt goldmaking army. I'm just not going to be able to start making that bigger gold right away, but I'll still be able to spend the early access time setting it up, which is kind of what I'm going to do anyway, because let's just assume that 25% of people have the early access, 75% of people don't, and when you think about a supply versus demand metric, when the other 75% comes in at the official launch, that is when demand hits a peak. So for me, I would prefer spending as much of the early access time as possible setting up my characters anyway, and having the ability to spend knowledge points or not isn't really that important until the official launch. So for me, that's not really game breaking at all, but once again, I hope that's what happens, that you're still able to accumulate the knowledge points, you just won't be able to spend them. I hope that's what happens, and I really think that's what's going to happen as well, because once again, it just makes the most sense. So let me know your thoughts on that in the comments down below. Now, if you're wondering about exactly what I'm doing in that early access launch period for the War Within, first of all, I'm probably going to stream the entire thing live on Twitch, so you can follow me on Twitch down below, but I also have a gold making guide for the War Within, where I have a couple of videos at the moment where I'm talking about what I'm doing at the launch itself, and one of those videos is public here on YouTube. I think that one went live yesterday or 2 days ago now, going through a step-by-step guide on what I'm doing for the launch itself, which kind of goes through a step 1, step 2, step 3 of exactly what I'm doing when the expansion comes out. And when you buy this guide, I also have made 2 videos in exclusive access right now, so that's 2 videos that will never go live on YouTube, like never be public. They will only be for you guys that have this gold making guide that covers this even more in depth and has a couple of tips and tricks that you can use both at the official launch or even the early access launch to give yourself a massive head start over other people. That is assuming none of this gets nerfed, of course. We're just trying to find ways to break the game and then hoping that Blizzard don't nerf them before we abuse them. So hopefully that still works, and if it does, that's going to be absolutely crazy. I'm going to do it myself, and it's going to be it's going to be a good way to get a little bit of a head start in the expansion itself. Now obviously when you buy the guide, you also get access to the guide itself, which is a full document going in depth on every single profession, talking about how to make gold with those professions and how to spend your knowledge points as well when the knowledge points get unlocked. In addition to that, we have found a lot of farms on the beta, both solo farms, group farms, skinning farms, tailoring farms, that you can take advantage of at the launch itself. Now, in addition to that, there's one more thing you get access to when you buy the guide, which is a gold making community / a Discord server, where I will give you guys early access to gold making videos. So imagine I find an absolutely broken gold farm early at the launch of the War Within. You guys will get access to that gold farm and the video of that gold farm before that video goes public, giving you early access to the best ways to both make gold through farming and crafting. So crafting gold, farming gold, whatever. All of the best ways to make gold, you will have early access to them here on my YouTube channel and in that gold making guide. So once again, if you haven't checked it out, feel free to do so. The link will be down below, and if you do get the guide, thank you so much. Your support really means a lot to me, and it's what drives me and helps me find ways to make gold. I am doing the absolute best that I can to just try to find different ways to make gold that are good. I just don't want to share rubbish. I want to share good ways to make gold, and hopefully I'm able to do that in the War Within as well. Either way, thank you for watching. I really do appreciate it. Let me know once again your thoughts on the interview down below and the profession knowledge points. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. As always, thank you for watching. I'll see you again in the next video very soon.